Good morning. This is Gatorcast 8, May 15th. I hope you guys are having a great day. Thank you for tuning in. I'm going to talk about a few things today. We're going to talk about Cliffy B and Boss Key Productions. We're going to talk about E3 for a little bit and Borderlands 3. And we're going to talk about Overwatch and their charity event that's currently going on and the anniversary event coming up soon. First, let's talk about the announcement yesterday that came from Cliffy Belinsky, or Cliffy B, as the godfather of Gears of War, and then later creator of Lawbreakers and Radical Heights, or I should say that he's the lead behind that. Obviously, he didn't do it by himself. He has a team of talented people who have worked with him. They announced yesterday that Boss Key Productions is effectively no more, according to his Twitter statement. And, for 4 years they set out to make Lawbreakers and then more recently Radical Heights, and they're closing up shop. And, this is I think a sad day for gaming fans, the gaming industry as a whole. I saw several articles and different people in the gaming community talk about how basically this is the proof that okay is not good enough. I try to figure somewhere out in the comments, the description of this video to cite that, because I can't remember exactly where I read that, but that quote was, okay games are not good enough. And the failure of Radical Heights and Lawbreakers is a consequence of, obviously, gaming derivatives that are being pushed out by, the masses. Well, Lawbreakers was, a take, kind of in the vein of the Paladin, Smite, Overwatch genre that I think has been oversaturated. And Lawbreakers, being a good game, looked good, beautiful art, beautiful animations, solid gameplay, just could not get traction or foothold in the industry. And Radical Heights is more of the same. And, why everyone is kind of going, wow, this is really rough for Cliff B and Boss Key Productions, and they trust me, they have my sympathy. But this is what happens when the gaming industry becomes derivative. And everyone looks at what makes money and goes, let's do that. And the battle royale format, the first big titan of that, that genre was PlayerUnknown Battleground, or PUBG, and then the latest juggernaut is Fortnite's battle royale. And with this commercial tie-in, I just did a video titled "Fortnite Affinity Gauntlet Smell the Glove," which is kind of my funny attempt to be humorous rant on that current state of that situation. I encourage you to check it out. I'll provide a link in the description. But basically, this derivativeness, this attitude, you see it in almost every form of entertainment media, from books, comics, to movies, television. Something does well, and everyone races to the market to imitate or copy or try to jump on that. And, looking at Boss Key Productions, they were in the business of making derivatives. And that's the risk you run. If your concepts are to look at something and try to improve on it, sometimes that works. The World of Warcraft wasn't the first MMO RPG, but what it did was it innovated on that concept, and then just simply bring to market a new, massive role-playing game. Before World of Warcraft, there was EverQuest, and it was the titan of the genre, and then World of Warcraft completely eclipsed EverQuest's popularity, its base, its financial power, all that. But to be fair to Blizzard, they didn't bring a pure derivative to the market. They brought an evolving take on that genre. And so I think what the industry should learn from Boss Key Productions is that you can make a derivative game. You could add to an existing genre, but you have to be innovative, and you have to bring something new that has not been seen of before, or you need to greatly improve on what already exists. If you cannot do that, you're not going to gain traction and you're going to fail. This isn't just about video games. That's just business 101. You don't need a business degree. You don't need to be a rocket scientist. You just need to have some common sense and understand if you're going to take that risk, you have to come correct. And so hopefully the market understands this, because they look at Fortnite, and I don't think Fortnite is the best iteration of Battle Royale we've seen. I've played it. I've actually completely consumed it this weekend with my family and friends, playing a ton of it with a new commercial tie-in, and it's a blast. But I think it could be improved on. But Radical Heights was not that game. It did not improve on it. It was actually a step back. It was clunky, poorly executed, and rushed out and underbaked. And of course, it wasn't going to gain steam because it just wasn't as good as of games that are already out there. So, if you're going to come to the market with a Battle Royale game, you got to come out with a game that's going to at least compete and have something to offer outside of what already exists, especially in the free-to-play game space. It blows my mind that anyone would have thought that was going to do well. But anyways, on to other news. E3 is coming up in a few weeks, June 12th to 14th, and the one thing I want to talk about specifically is that Gearbox, which is the makers of one of the best games, one of the funnest games I've ever played, which is Borderlands 1 and 2. I think it's a great hybrid game. It's a shooter, loot-based game, and it's wonderful. If you've never played it, I encourage you to try it out. Even if those genres don't appeal to you, it is, I think, one of the best games ever made, and I don't say that lightly. But the recent news, and from an article that, let me see here, let me look at my notes here. Article from the website shacknews.com claims that they talked to Gearbox, and they have made it clear that they're not going to be covering Borderlands 3 at this E3. Now, there's a joke that I guess it can be called a meme about the band Radiohead. Their most famous song is Creep, and for years they refused to play the song Creep instead of just playing the new music they've made that has not had the same commercial success. And so the joke is, hey, Radiohead, just play Creep. I kind of feel like that applies to Gearbox at this point in time. Their biggest game that they released most recently is Battleborn. And I'm not talking about the other games that they have done, like Aliens Colonial Marines or the Duke Nukems. I'm talking about the intellectual properties that they have created in-house, and that's mainly Borderlands and Battleborn at this point. Now, Battleborn, I think, is a ill-conceived concept with bad, horrible timing. And I think that the Gearbox's own hubris has been probably its biggest weakness lately. And at this point, I hope Randy Pitchford, I hope Gearbox figures this out, that basically people want Borderlands. We don't care about your other IP that failed. And I could get into a big old rant and essay of why I feel Battleborn failed. I remember being a very vocal voice on their forums and being completely blasted by their fanboys. But, that game came out, a couple weeks before Overwatch was released, and Overwatch absolutely killed it. And it just did not survive because, back to my original point about what I talked about earlier in this cast about derivative, Battleborn was a derivative and a poorly executed one with developers that their own egos could not listen to their player base tell them what was actually fundamentally wrong with their game. They had a very flawed progression system. But anyways, I digress. Back to Borderlands 3. I really hope Gearbox fixes this. I feel like they have this attitude that they're being cagey. Maybe they got their own thing that they're going to release, teaser or something. But I really hope Borderlands 3 they get it right, because if they don't, then I feel really bad for this. This is an indie company. I should point out they're an indie developer, and Borderlands is by far and away their flagship franchise. And I really hope they don't miss this opportunity or miss this up, because I think with the recent problems of Battleborn, the recent public backlash to some of the other games that they have done, they really can't afford to mess this up. And seeing the fact that they're not going to have Borderlands 3 at E3, I hope it's just because that they're in the development process where Borderlands 3 needs a lot more time in the oven before they have anything they can actually show or feel real secure about. I hope that's the case, and not because there's some type of internal problem or they're being victims to their own hubris. I really hope. And once we get more news about that, I plan on fully covering Borderlands news, because like I said, Borderlands 2 I think and Borderlands 1 is two of the best games ever made, and I really hope this works out for them. On to other news. Overwatch recently announced a charity event tie-in. It ends May 21st. It's for the Breast Cancer Research Foundation. I'll provide a link in the description. For buying a skin for Mercy, it's $15, and I'm not sure if it's all the proceeds or some of the proceeds goes to the BCRF, but I think it's a great charity. It has a great mission. It's an honorable mission. I think it's really awesome. But I do have some nitpicky criticism. I really, sitting there talking to my wife about this is one of the few games my wife actually plays, and she's a very casual gamer, so it's really rare to find a game that she'll play and enjoy. And I think this is a missed opportunity. They make one skin for one character, which I think it's a little too obvious, Mercy being a healer, and we'll do the breast cancer awareness tie-in for a female healing character. And, being a rough, gruff veteran like myself, this might seem odd, but I would have liked to seen the pink motif for some of the unobvious characters. I think it would have been great to see a pink skin available for 6 to 10 different heroes, if not all of them. Because I know they would have got my money if I could have got a breast cancer research foundation skin for Soldier 76 or Lucio or Reinhardt or any of these. I think it would have been a great opportunity. They could have sold a lot more skins, and they would have got a lot more of my money, and the Breast Cancer Research Foundation would have got a lot more of my money. But it's a missed opportunity. I tweeted about it today. So I think when you're a gaming company and you're doing a charitable tie-in, go all the way. It's great you can do one little thing, but think about your player base. Think about what they want. Not everyone plays Mercy, so they could buy the skin just to support the cause. I'm not a Mercy player, and I know a lot of my friends aren't either. It kind of feels like, oh, great, you made a skin that I don't want. Even though I would like to help the charity. And then, the other things is like a pink t-shirt on a website. I'm not buying a pink t-shirt. My wife might want one, but I'm good. But I would have loved to have an in-game Soldier 76 pink skin. So those are the topics I talked about today. Sorry, a little rushed, and I kind of had a long vacation this weekend where I kind of just relaxed, and I played a ton of Fortnite this past weekend. Probably too much, a little gluttonous, but it was really fun, and I really liked the tie-in, and it had a blast. I want to thank all you guys for listening and returning, especially returning listeners. I appreciate your support. I appreciate all the kind words I get from you guys. It's really encouraging. I started this endeavor in February, and this has been something that I've been planning for years to do, to kind of get into video game journalism as a second career. And I've been having a blast. It's a passion of mine, and I just really enjoy all the new friends I've made, all the people I've made through networking, and I appreciate all your support. And thank you so much for listening. And I hope you have a great week, and don't work too hard. Make some time for some games, and let me know what you think, because I can talk about video games all day. Thanks for listening. Bye.